YouTube, B Smokeheart's back here with you, and I have my pastrami. It's been sitting in water. I pulled it out of the brine. It's been sitting in this water about an hour or so. So technically, you don't have to do this step. It's really depending on how much salt, not that pink curing salt, but how much salt did you actually use in your brine. What happens is it may be too salty, and if you go ahead and put this on your smoker, it's definitely going to stay salty. You don't necessarily need to use any more salt in this process. However, let's go ahead and get this out of the brine. Nope, don't have any gloves today. I'm out of gloves. Till I pick something up, my hands are clean. Just got through wiping this counter down. We'll get the pastrami down here. So now, what we're going to do is take some paper towels and get it as dry as possible. Just remember, this has been sitting in the brine for about a week. You're never going to be able to dry this out by simply patting it down with the paper towels. See, some of those spices are still on there. I'm going to leave them at this point. They've soaked up enough moisture to be soft. Right. I didn't make any new pastrami spice. I was able to find some pastrami spice I had made and stored away in one of these jars. So that's what we're going to be using today. In that pastrami spice, you'll find cumin, coriander, garlic, seasoned salt, black pepper, star anise, and you can. It's potent, but you can expect some of that potency to remove itself throughout this cooking process. So, all right, here we go. I don't need a binder, so I'm not going to use a binder. I am cooking today on my Weber kettle, the shallower kettle, not the deep kettle. And so we're going to start off with our pepper. Again, we're going more for Texas style pastrami. So black pepper is the base. You want a lighter pastrami, go lighter pepper. You want it dark, go with a little bit heavier coat of black pepper. This is the bottom. We always get the non-presentation side first. All right. Give it a pat. Now I'm going to hit this side with some seasoned salt. This is a lot less saltier than you think it is. Don't need to go heavy. Now I'm gonna go with a lighter coat on this underside, and then we'll go with a heavier coat on that fat side. Again, I'm trying to get this barked up, and then here's that pastrami spice. All right. We're reinforcing those flavors that's already inside of this brisket flat. Now we can technically call it pastrami. That's it for the bottom side. We're going to flip her over. Again, you're never going to get this thing dry. Remember, it's been sitting in a brine. It's been sitting in a brine for the past week. Now let's focus on these edges. Nice even coat. Again, you want a darker bark, use more pepper. You want a lighter bark, use less pepper. There are some tricks of the trade we can use. There are some food items we can use to help kind of reinforce that smoke ring. One of the things I did earlier on this channel, kind of like when I was first starting, was used to use a lot of celery seed. Celery seed has some naturally occurring chemicals in it that when used in conjunction with smoke, absolutely help you get a smoke ring, if you didn't know. Google it, look it up. There are tons of videos on YouTube of people doing experiments using different things like celery seed, whole celery. So on this fatty part, we're gonna go a little heavier. Just remember, as this fat starts rendering, some of the seasoning will come off. That's looking good, nice and even. We're gonna give it a pat in. And now we're gonna do the same thing to the top side, our presentation side, as we did under. Always pepper, then any type of salt you're gonna use. If I wasn't using salt, then it would be pepper and the pastrami spice. Now we still gotta get these edges. Edges need love too. Smells good already. That pastrami spice is hitting hard. I didn't even use a lot of it. Just remember though, these flavors are going to mellow Pastrami is also something that generally after cook tastes better the next day. However, you know, people like hot pastrami. Tastes better after it's been in the fridge for a night, or cycle they call it. Alright, now we're gonna hit it with our pastrami spice. We're going a bit heavier on this presentation side. Again, I want this fatty side barked up. A lot of flavor that's going to be on the edges. Remember, this will be sliced. Even if you're just going to eat it on a sandwich, it will be sliced. So trying to reinforce that flavors. Make sure that your tongue or the roof of your mouth gets a bit of all of the flavors that's in here. You should absolutely be able to taste all the spices that we toasted off. You should be able to taste it. Remember, that's the whole reason that we did it. That brine acts as a vehicle. There is no salt in this pastrami spice. I made it. No salt whatsoever. So you can go as heavy or as light with it as you want to. Let me get this last side. And I'm going to tell you guys how we're going to proceed. Alright. Alright, so now that I got the pastrami seasoned, well seasoned, alright, this is going to sit here for the next 20 to 30 minutes. I've already got a fire started on my shallow Weber kettle. And this will sit here. We need that the little bit of salt that I did use to go ahead and activate. We know that it's activated because this piece of meat will look wet. It should look more wet than any other thing else that I've cooked on this channel because, again, it's been setting in a brine for the past 7 days. That moisture will leap. It will weep. I'm sorry. It will weep. It will continue to weep on the smoker. And we're going to rock with it just like this. It's already looking pretty good. Other than that, I'll bring you guys back when I'm getting ready to put this on. Stay tuned. All right, we've got the pastrami on. I'm rolling with some B&B Lump Charcoal. I'm not using the insert that I normally use. Again, there is no water in here. There's enough moisture in the environment, and I don't feel like we're going to need it. This here is a piece of applewood. I'm going really light apple smoke on this, and we're going to let it roll. I'll bring you guys back when we got some action happening. Stay tuned. All right, we are at about 6.5 hours in. I am going to do something that I don't normally do here on the channel. We're going to implement the use of the foil boat. I like the bark. This fat cap is rendered and has a bit more rendering to do. This is sitting at about 180 right now. So that the temperature doesn't fall on me, we're going to go ahead and get this wrapped up. So while the foil boat, because it allows us to generate some handles on this, so it makes carrying of this, you know, getting it on and off the pit easier. All right. And it protects that portion of the lean while allowing that fat to still render on top of the lean. Alright, so here's what we're looking like. This will continue to get darker. Smells delicious. And here's what we have. Right, it's going to go back on my pit. I suppose the cook should start moving a bit faster. So I say we got anywhere from an hour to a half until we're completely done. Right, we just pushed out of that stall. Stay tuned. Alright, here's the final product. It's not necessarily finished yet. I like the color that we got. This is going to get a bit darker as it rests. We temp at a temperature of 201. It is probing quite tender. So here's what I'm going to do now. I got my meat blanket to give this somewhat of a heated rest. I'll bring you guys back when I'm pulling out of that meat blanket and giving it a slice. Stay tuned. YouTube, we're back. So this has been resting in my meat bag, and I do mean my meat bag, for the last hour. Could have let it go on for longer. The longer the better. But let's get it out let's see what we're working with. Alright, I do like that bark. Let's get some of that juice on there. Alright, let's get in here because this is going to be my dinner tonight. So, again, this is a flat. We are going to, so let's cut this down the middle. See what we got. Looking pretty good. Now, here's what I will say. On that brine, probably could have went another day or two. So you see we got pink ring. Pastrami is generally pink because of the nitrites from that pink salt. And we don't have, it didn't make it all the way to the center of the meat. This is still fine. We're still going to use it just like pastrami. And now, I am kind of in a rush with this cook, or else I would have let this pastrami sit in that brine for another day or two. However, I didn't want it to go bad. So, smells absolutely delicious. We got some, it's a clapper. Can you guys see that? So let me cut a slice off of here. I love that fat. Let's see what it tastes like. Salty, but not overly salty. Peppery. Tasting every bit of those spices. Cinnamon. That star anise. It's got a background licorice flavor, but it's not too overpowering. I love this bark. I think what I'm going to do to this, I'm going to cut me a few slices off, and then I am going to probably get some steaming action going on. I can get this a bit more tender, and it could be also because of the way I'm cutting it. So let's try and cut some crispy bark. Alright. That pulls apart with ease. That's why. Alright. That's delicious. So, the next time, even on something this small, I'm probably going to go ahead and take it to 10 days. Now, I've had other experiences with that brine in making sure that it penetrates all the way through the meat. I could have did the quick injection method, which is where you take some of that same brine and just inject into the meat, and then you go ahead and submerge the meat into the same brine. But other than that, now I've got something for my kit bag to improve my pastrami game. The flavor's delicious. That bark absolutely helps out in the way of flavor. Remember, you're not just sitting eating bark, but in each bite you're going to be able to taste that bark. Other than that, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next video.